شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. This is study number 3 of the Ramadan daily Quran studies for the year 2021, presented by the Anjuman Ishat Islam, Lahore, UK, and I'm Zahid Aziz, the compiler of these studies. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to our viewers and listeners. The topic of this study is that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam brings people from darkness into light. The Holy Quran says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Kitabun anzalnahu alayka litukhrijan nasa min az-zulumati ila an-nur bi'izni rabbihim ila siratil azizil hamid dillahi allazi lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ardi. Sadaqallahul azim. And that translates as follows: a book which we have revealed to you, you is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you may bring forth people by their Lord's permission from darkness into light, to the way of the mighty, the praised one, the way of Allah, to whom belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is in the earth. And those are the opening verses of chapter 14. And likewise, there's another verse which I will read in Arabic. هو الذي ينزل على عبده آيات بينات ليخرجكم من الظلمات إلى النور وإن الله بكم لرؤوف رحيم. He it is who sends down clear messages to his servant, that he may bring you forth from darkness into light. And surely Allah is kind, merciful to you. Chapter 57, verse 9. And then there's another verse which I'll read out only in translation, that the Holy Prophet is described as a messenger who recites to you the clear messages of Allah, so that he may bring forth those who believe and do good, those who believe and do good deeds, from darkness into light. And that is chapter 65, verse 11. The previous one was chapter 57, verse 9. Light enables people to see things, to see the right path which they should follow, and to see the wrong path so that they can avoid it. They can see the wrong path as a contrast to the right path. The Holy Prophet ﷺ brought people into that light, as stated in these verses, so that they could see for themselves what was right and what was wrong. So bringing people into light is quite different from just giving them a set of rules and regulations to follow blindly and without thinking, because that is without light, where they follow those just in the hope and belief that this will lead them to their salvation and to what we call Jannah. So having light is rather different from this. The word for darkness in all the above verses which I read out is zulumat, which actually is plural, zulumat. But we just say darkness in the English translation, not darknesses. The Holy Prophet Muhammad's countrymen were enveloped in many types of darkness. idol worship, ignorance, cruel customs, superstition, blind following of tradition, blind following of religious leaders, injustice, oppression of the weak and the helpless, etc., etc. And what Allah has called the clear message, his clear messages delivered to these people by the Holy Prophet, they brought them into light so that they could see the darkness in which they had been living. And the Holy Quran gives an example in a verse whose translation I will read out. Is he who was dead, then we raised him to life and made for him a light by which he walks among the people. We raised him to life. We made for him a light by which he walks among the people. Is he like him who is in darkness from which he can't come out? Chapter 6, verse 122. Now, this is not talking about a particular person who was dead and then brought to life. But what it is talking about are morally and spiritually dead people being raised to life by the Holy Prophet and being given guidance about how to lead their lives. So when it says, by which he walks among the people, we made for him a light by which he walks among the people, it also means that that person then guides other people who follow his light. So, although in this verse it says about Allah, we made for him a light, but it is implicitly understood, even though the Holy Prophet is not directly mentioned, that the Holy Prophet is the one who brings that light from God to people. And there is another such verse, Allah waliyul lazina amanu yukhrijuhum min az-zulumati ila an-nur. That is to say, Allah is the friend of those who believe. He brings them out of darkness into light. Chapter 2, verse 257. Again, here Allah is mentioned as bringing them from out of darkness into light. But the person in this world who performs that function is the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And he is described in the Holy Quran as elsewhere as a great light. It says, O Prophet, surely we have sent you as a witness of the people's condition, as a witness and a bearer of good news and a warner, and as an inviter to God by his permission, and as a light-giving sun. The sun which you see in the sky, as a light-giving sun. Chapter 33, verses 45 to 46. And the Arabic words for a light-giving sun are Sirajam Munira. Now, the light-giving sun illuminates the whole world. When the sun is out, all the smaller lights are no longer necessary. So that indicates that when the Holy Prophet appeared, he was like the sun, and therefore the previous small lights that were there of the previous prophets are overtaken and are no longer necessary on their own. Now, it also indicates in this verse that the Holy Prophet was the one who gave others the light and brought them up, lifted them out of the depths of immorality to the great heights of purity. So he himself could not be living in the darkness of impurity if he purified others and brought them into light. And that is an answer to those critics of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who accuse him of following his material and worldly desires. Those critics claim that that is what he was doing in his work and mission. He was just trying to acquire worldly power or make worldly gains or satisfy his worldly desires. And they make these accusations on the basis that of his marriages to several women, and also because of the wars that he fought. So they make those false accusations on that basis. But the Holy Quran says that he, in fact, purified others. He gave them light. So how could he himself be in the darkness of following his own desires? And it's because of these accusations that two verses after the verse which I had quoted, the verse I had quoted, light-giving sun, is chapter 33, verse 46. And only two verses later, the Holy Quran instructs the Holy Prophet as follows: and do not obey the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and disregard their annoying talk, and rely on Allah. And Allah is sufficient as being in charge of all affairs. That's verse 48 of chapter 33. Now the Holy Prophet here is instructed and advised to disregard this annoying talk. And by annoying talk is meant the hurtful allegations which were being made against him by the unbelievers who didn't believe in Islam and opposed it, and also by people known as hypocrites who, although associating themselves with Muslims, in fact were not true believers, and they also spread allegations against the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he is told to disregard their hurtful allegations. Because, as it says here, Allah, rely on Allah. Because a time would come, it is prophesied here, that a time would come when this question would be asked: how is it that the Holy Prophet illuminated the world and gave the world so much light if his own mind and heart were in darkness? So he's assured that a time will come when he'll be vindicated of these allegations because of the work which he would have done of giving other people the light and bringing light into this world. And this verse also teaches Muslims of all times, Muslims of today, that when they are offended and hurt by provocative attacks on their religion and on their prophet, attacks which have words which are sarcastic, words of ridicule, words of mockery, that Muslims should bear their feelings of hurt and anger. They should bear them with patience and ignore the abuse, and just keep on showing the world what was the light brought by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how he completely transformed the nation, his nation, from bad to good. And that is the end of this study, number 3. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafa'na wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikum barrur rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.